यशोदनन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातिरावनचारिणी Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. So we are reading from Bhagavad Gita, text chapter 13, Nature, Enjoyer and the Consciousness, and text number 8 to 12. This volume is too high, no? Huh? It's clear? Volume is clear. Okay. Okay. So the text goes like this. Amanitvam adambitvam ahimsa kshantirajyavam acharya pasanam saucham stairyam atma vinigraha indriyateshu vairagyam anahankara evacha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanudarshanam asaktirana vishvanga putradara grahadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu Mai chananya yogena bhaktir abhyavicharini विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानम् इति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यद् अतोऽन्यथा. So here we see the translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, perception of the evil of birth, death, old age and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home and the rest, even-mindedness amidst pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. Purport. The process of knowledge is sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent men as being the interaction of field of activity, but actually this is the real process of knowledge. If one accepts this process, then the possibility of approaching the absolute truth exists. This is not the interaction of 24 elements as described before. This is actually the means to get out of the entanglement of those elements. The embodied soul is entrapped by the body, which is a casing made of 24 elements, and the process of knowledge as described here is the means to get out of it. Of all the descriptions of the process of knowledge, the most important point is described in the first line of the 11th verse, Mai Chananya Yogena Bhaktirabhya Vicharini. The process of knowledge terminates in unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. So if one does not approach or is not able to approach the transcendental service of the Lord, then the other 19 items are of no particular value. But if one takes to devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, the other 19 items automatically develop within him, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Yashasti Bhaktir Bhagavat Yakinchana Sarvair Gunestatra Samasate Sura. All the good qualities of knowledge develops in one who has attained the stage of devotional service. The principle of accepting a spiritual master, as mentioned in the 8th verse, is essential. Even for one who takes to devotional service, it is most important. Transcendental life begins when one accepts a bona fide spiritual master. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna clearly states here that this process of knowledge is the actual path. Anything speculated beyond this is nonsense. Om Jnanatimirandasya Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guraho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This volume is okay? So we need a little bit of volume only, otherwise it will reverberate within, so like I will try to speak into the mic itself. So here we are seeing a very, very important set of shlokas, which is a part of the Jnana Yoga section of the Bhagavad Gita. So now here we see there are certain elements which are mentioned, which appears to be like qualities. So but here Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, this is process of acquiring knowledge. So these are all the process of acquiring the knowledge. And before that, so we need to understand what is knowledge itself. So what is knowledge? So understanding the matter and spirit, or being able to perceive matter and spirit. So that is considered to be knowledge. So if I am able to see only matter, so that is considered to be ignorance. So if I am not able to see everything that is present, so like generally when we go to, those of you who are wearing spectacles, you have experience. So when you go to an ophthalmologist, so they like ask you to see something which is there at a distance. So like, are you able to read this? तो हम तो confidently बोलते हैं हाँ यही है पढ़ने का. So then they will tell that like no, you have to put glasses. मैं तो पढ़ा था like जो भी बोले थे पढ़ा था like तुम पढ़े like कुछ चीज़ तुमको दिख नहीं रहे. So like it is in that way we see that. So we are able to see only matter. So then it is considered to be ignorance. If we are able to see both matter and spirit and the super soul and the supreme personality of Godhead, so then it is considered to be knowledge. At least to the extent of understanding, we are spirit soul and able to perceive ourselves as spirit soul. So that is considered to be the beginning stage of knowledge or Brahman realization. So now in order to attain that knowledge, so knowledge means to see something beyond matter. We should be able to see the spirit. So then, so like what is this knowledge comprises of? It is mentioned here, amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shantir, arjavam, all those things. So this is considered to be like the process of knowledge. And here Prabhupada raises a question that this process of knowledge is sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent men as being the interaction of field of activity. So it is interaction of field of activity. So now ahimsa, so like ahimsa is this one is there. So to whom you should not create any himsa, to other living entities. So other living entities are also like, it's all about the body that is we are talking about. We should not hurt another living entity's body and things like that. So how can such a material interaction bring about our vision for spirit, bring about like our perception of spirit? So this is a question that like some people actually raise. So knowledge means one should give up any interaction with the matter. So then one should contemplate about the Brahman, and then he should realize about Brahman. So in this way, like generally, like this one. What is that? If you want to attain something, so like this is almost equal to if you want to get money. तो money किधर है? पैसा किधर है? बैंक में है, लोगों को पॉकेट में है, तो जाके पैसा उठाना है. हमको पैसा चाहिए तो पैसा उठाना है उधर से. So but generally this is not the process. आपको पैसा चाहिए तो आप एक नौकरी लेना चाहिए, बिजनेस करना चाहिए, and then the end result of that is you will get पैसा. So generally this is the idea that people have. तो हमको ब्रह्मन चाहिए तो ब्रह्मन में मेडिटेट करना चाहिए, हमको राधा कृष्ण चाहिए तो राधा कृष्ण को मेडिटेट करना चाहिए. So they don't understand that like there is a process. If we follow the process, we will get that as a result. So this is very important point. So here also we see that like there is a process that is there. So that process is listed down. So like 20 items, so 20 items are listed down. So sometimes it is understood to be, for less intelligent men, so they think that this is interaction of field of activity. ये तो like हमको जो चाहिए like वो नहीं मिलेगा इसमें. So this is all some basic moral things and things like that. तो ये क्यों हम करना चाहिए? So but actually this is real process of knowledge. If one accepts this process, then the possibility of approaching the absolute truth exists. So absolute truth, and like knowledge means to understand the absolute truth. in the form of Brahman or Paramatma or Bhagavan. So, like in order to understand, this set of items are very essential. So, is bhakti alone is not sufficient? Prabhupada says, in the purport here. So, is bhakti alone not sufficient? Yeah, so bhakti alone is sufficient for people who are doing just bhakti alone. So then no problem. So if we don't do bhakti alone, so then these items are also necessary actually. So we as renunciants, we are expected to practice bhakti alone. So then, like, why are we studying about this? ये तो हमको जरूरत नहीं है. Renunciants are supposed to practice 64 angas of bhakti, especially the renunciants in traditionally the renunciants are supposed to practice the items of knowledge. So, but the renunciants in the setup which is created by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada, so we are expected to follow only 64 items of bhakti. So then why are we studying about the jnana angas? How is it going to be useful for us? Huh? It's favorable ground for bhakti, but हमको ये करना ही नहीं था. हाँ? भक्ति नहीं कर रहे इसके लिए. No, actually, you see, yesterday one principle that we discussed, the prescriptions and prohibitions of the lower form or lower, yoga system applies, and more prescriptions and prohibitions applies for a higher yoga system. So bhakti yoga means whatever is mentioned in jnana and plus more. So that is what is this one. So now if something is contradicting, so that means I am performing bhakti. So but like ahimsa and all these things are like not very important, or amanitvam is not very important, or adambitvam is not very important, or tolerance is not very important. So I just do bhakti, I just chant the names of the Lord, and कोई कुछ बोला तो like उसको उल्टा सीधा बोल दो कुछ काम हो गया. So like so why I should practice shanti or tolerance and things like that. So this is very important. Or why I should practice cleanliness. So where in 64 angas of bhakti, like cleanliness is mentioned. Of course, arshanam requires cleanliness. So, but other things, cleanliness is not mentioned. So, जरूरत नहीं है वो करने का. So, but then the thing is, like one should see that, till the time we follow a sadhana practice, so we need to practice things like in a progressive way. So the jnana items also we need to understand, so that we will be able to do bhakti in a proper way, so that like we don't misunderstand bhakti in a different way, that ki like ye sab cheez jarurut nahi hai, so even bhakti requires this and even more, so like to be performed. So in that way, like this is very, very important. And Srila Prabhupada will be giving in the purport the way to perform these items in the devotional service. So that's nicely, like Srila Prabhupada actually explains that. So now this is not an interaction of 24 elements. What is 24 elements? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 working senses, and then 5 sense objects. कितना हो गया? 20 हो गया. So mind, intelligence, false ego. After that, so sum total of all the material energy. So all these things put together is matter, and these items which are mentioned here, so they are not part of the 24 elements, though it appears to be part of 24 elements. So now, like you see, humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, cleanliness. कौन सा चीज़ को clean रखेंगे? Body को clean रखेंगे, and then like हमारा, of course, like internal cleanliness we talk about a lot, like chanting and things like that. So what external cleanliness gets missed out many times. So taking baths regularly, and then like keeping our things clean, and after we take prasadam, not walking on the same area, that's like considered to be unclean. So if, especially we are in South India, like, no, we should be even more careful. So like if we wear dhoti kurta, and then no, if we eat prasadam and if we walk on top of it, people think like, no, ye to bogus sadhu hai. So seedha like, no, they will be able to understand ki like isko kuch sadachar nahi aata hai. So no, it will become very, very this one. So now if you see, these are all interactions of matter only, no? These are all, like I took prasadam somewhere, and then that place is considered to be contaminated. So I have to clean that place before I use that place. So इसमें spirit का क्या मतलब, like what is the interaction of spirit? It is just interaction of matter only. तो कपड़ा भी matter है, पानी भी matter है, like no, like what is it, floor भी matter है. So उसको हम clean कर रहे हैं. तो इसमें like no, what is the spiritual thing over there? So why it is considered to be knowledge? No, क्यों पोछा लगाना? Why it is considered to be knowledge? No, because that activity is listed by Krishna as knowledge. No, it is considered to be knowledge. Just like, no, if you take two stones, so both of them are not fire. But if you rub two stones, fire gets generated. So matter, when it is brought about in a particular combination, it produces the spiritual knowledge. And that particular combination has been mentioned here. So that is humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity. So these are all things which are capable of producing knowledge. These items are capable of producing knowledge. So these should not be thought about as material things. And so if we don't do these things, then our chanting of Hare Krishna mantra will not result in desired way, right? So these are all not part of 24 elements. Rather, this is process to get out of the entanglement of 24 elements. So that is what is mentioned here. And then it is mentioned about this first line of the 11th verse, that is Mai Chananya Yogena Bhakti Rabhya Bicharini. So even the process of knowledge, if you remove bhakti from it, Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastra Japatapa Apranasya Dehasya Mandanam Lokaranjanam. So if you remove Bhagavad Bhakti from any process, then the process actually dies. The process doesn't have any life. So here, though it is listing down the items of knowledge without performing the bhakti, so then these items of knowledge will not produce result. So one is very, very humble, but he doesn't chant Hare Krishna mantra. Will he get knowledge? He will not get knowledge. So like chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is very essential, and like devotion to the Lord is very essential for these items to actually function properly. So, but if somebody takes up to only chanting throughout the day, like yesterday we were discussing, that prostitute, she chanted, throughout, like she didn't even chant first of all, like she was just hearing Haridas Thakur's chanting, continuously for a good amount of time, and transformation happened. And Haridas Thakur did not give a seminar on Vaishnava etiquette and things like that. She naturally got all the Vaishnava etiquette. And uske baad kuch training nahi hai, just nirantar jap karo, sab kuch mil jayega. So how is it possible? Because constant unalloyed devotional service which is performed constantly without any interruption, that brings about all the auspicious qualities. Yashyasti bhaktir bhagavat yakinchana sarvair gunas tatra samasate sura. So 16 rounds may not bring about all good qualities, but constant chanting of the names of the Lord will bring about all the good qualities, so that are there in the even great personalities like the demigods. So in this way, we see that either we should fully engage in devotional items, or if we are not able to fully engage in devotional items, the next possible option is devotional items plus the items of knowledge. And then if you cannot also do that, then devotional items plus items of knowledge plus items of Varnashrama. So then it becomes a package, a dharmic package. So renunciants can perform first two packages. So if he cannot just focus on only items of bhakti, he can also focus on items of jnana. That is also permissible in the renounced ashram. But he cannot focus on karma items. So that is not permissible, especially renunciation in Krishna consciousness. Renunciation as taught by Srila Prabhupada and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So so this we see another important point that is mentioned is approaching a bona fide spiritual master. So this is true, like this point is true for karma dharma, jnana dharma and bhakti dharma. So everywhere approaching a bona fide spiritual master is very essential. So without that we cannot follow any of the path of dharma. So like that is very, very essential. So one need to approach a bona fide spiritual master. One need to receive like a process, that is what is that? The process that is given by the spiritual master according to the scriptures, and one should be like very much attached to it. So now somebody may say like, what did my spiritual master give? So like he gave 16 rounds of chanting, and he asked me to avoid four sinful things, and then avoid offenses and things like that. ये तो मुझे पहले दिन से पता है. when I came to Krishna consciousness, like पहले दिन से like मुझे पता है. तो like नया क्यों दिया? नया क्या दिया spiritual master ने? What is this one? What did the spiritual master give me? नया क्या दिया? हाँ? Transcendental knowledge ऐसे दे दिए? नहीं, transcendental knowledge स्पिरिचुअल मास्टर जो भी बोले हैं उसको फॉलो करने में ट्रांसेंडेंटल नॉलेज आता है. तो वो जो फॉलो करने के लिए बोला है वो तो मुझे पहले दिन से पता है ना. नहीं, हाँ. So it's a very important point that though I may know these items, like I know chanting, 16 rounds. I know there is like, I have to avoid sinful activities. I know I have to avoid offenses. I have attended seminars and all those things. I have given seminars also. Like, it may be so, but still one need to get the mercy of a spiritual master, and he should authorize saying that I am giving you this process and you follow this, so that then Krishna will bestow mercy upon you. So when I accept it as a mercy from the spiritual master, because see, Krishna consciousness is something that is very, very personal and internal to Krishna, and Krishna distributes it through Balaram and through the Guru Parampara. So this process actually comes down. And ye to book mein chapa hai, like, there is there in the Vedic scriptures. So even, now we are here in Srirangam, Ramanujacharya, like he was very, very well trained. He born in a like nice Brahmana family. From family itself, he was very well trained. And then on top of it, like, he was known for his scholarship and things like that. Even after that, he was hankering very badly that I need to have a spiritual master. So I need to get the mercy of the spiritual master. That is when I will be able to make progress in Krishna consciousness. ऐसा नहीं कि like बचपन से मुझे पता है, so like that is not the way like one would approach the spiritual process. Like it is not that कुछ तो हटके मुझे चाहिए, like it is not like that. So like whatever is known to us, like if we are born in a like holy place, or if we are born in a like family which is having some samskaras, or if we are there in an association of people like who have some samskaras and things like that, definitely we will get to know a lot of things. So getting to know things is not sufficient. Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriye. So we will not be able to access these items of devotion on our own strength. We need to get the blessings of a great personality, a spiritual master. So that is when we will be able to access them. So like even Srila Prabhupada also in this regard, what does he say about his father and spiritual master? Anybody remember? So whatever Prabhupada learned, the system of Krishna consciousness, he learned from his father. And then later on, like it was like solidified, or he got the transcendental knowledge from his spiritual master. So like for Prabhupada also, like nothing new that he understood from, nothing new process he actually got from his spiritual master. Everything like chanting he was knowing, deity worship he was knowing, everything he was knowing. He was born in a Vaishnava family, everything he was knowing. But still, like the touch of the spiritual master is very, very essential, because these items of like Krishna consciousness, these items of bhakti are very, very private, and like it is Antaranga Shakti, it belongs to the Antaranga Shakti of the Lord. And when the Lord gives it through the medium of a spiritual master, then we can understand, okay, like I am not qualified, still my spiritual master has bestowed this process upon me. It is not that कि like initiation होने के बाद like नया कुछ दिया, नया क्या दिया, नहीं ये तो मुझे पहले से पता है. So like so and even ठीक है, मे बी डिवोटीज में से लाइक सेकेंड इनिशिएशन में नया कुछ मंत्र मिलते हैं जो बाहर नहीं बोलते हैं, वो भी चैतन्य चरितामृत में छापा है, लाइक नथिंग न्यू. सो इफ यू रीड चैतन्य चरितामृत यू नो ऑल द मंत्रास ऑफ सेकेंड इनिशिएशन आल्सो. सो व्हाट इज नथिंग न्यू अबाउट इट? सो द important thing is, spiritual master now he says, I am giving it to you, now you practice. So that makes the whole difference, like that's where the whole difference actually comes. So it is very important that one may follow karma dharma, jnana dharma and bhakti dharma, whatever may be the dharma. So he must approach a bona fide spiritual master and get a process, not like hatke wala process, get a process which is already established in the Vedas. So if he gives something new, like which is not present in the Vedas, the disciple should protest where it is mentioned in the Vedas. Like, how are you giving this process to me? Like, where it is there, you give me the pramana. So like disciples should actually protest. If the spiritual master gives something like out of the books, so like out of syllabus, so jo bhi hai like syllabus ke andar se hi aana chahiye. So whatever instructions like the spiritual master gives, so that is from the Vedic literatures itself. So approaching a bona fide spiritual master is very essential. So then after that, like we see that Srila Prabhupada actually mentions each and every one of these items. So he mentions how to practice them. So it is not that humility like it's a quality. So definitely we know it as a quality. But here we see that humility as a process. So it is actually as a process also. So now let's try to understand this. As for the knowledge outlined here, the items may be analyzed as follows. Humility means that one should not be anxious to have satisfaction of being honored by others. So the material conception of life makes us very eager to receive honor from others. But from the point of view of a man in perfect knowledge, who knows that he is not this body, anything, honor or dishonor, pertaining to this body is useless. One should not be hankering after material deception. People are very anxious to be famous for their religion, and consequently sometimes it is found that without understanding the principles of religion, one enters into some group which is not actually following religious principles and then wants to advertise himself as religious mentor. As for advancement in spiritual science, one should have a test to see how far he is progressing. He can judge by these items. So now, what is the practical way that we can practice humility? What is the practical way we can practice humility? Not being anxious to be honored by others. So that's there nicely. So like, how will you put it into practice? So whatever honor comes, like contemplating how it is only by the mercy of the spiritual master, mercy of the Guru Parampara, I could do this. So ideally they should be the recipients of this honor. So that's a very nice contemplation. So that contemplation is a practice of humility. So any other practical ways we can practice humility in lines of how Srila Prabhupada is mentioned here? Yes. Okay. So, like, how are you deriving it from whatever Srila Prabhupada has mentioned here? No. You should derive it from whatever Prabhupada has mentioned here. Now, for example, if like we are doing something and then nobody notices that, and then natural, it is contaminated mind can think that why is it that nobody noticed this, I did something worthwhile. So but then nobody noticed it, nobody, like I'm not expecting a lot of glorification or something like that, at least एक acknowledgement, like अच्छा है बहू, like thank you आपने किया है, तो इतना भी कोई बोला नहीं. So like this thought comes to my mind. So now what should I do when this thought comes to my mind? If I am practicing humility, if I am practicing these items of knowledge, so this thought is difficult, like to cut down in the level of thought. So my mind is contaminated, my consciousness is contaminated. So naturally this expectation and this thought naturally comes in my mind. So once it comes, so what am I supposed to do? Tell somebody and get appreciation. That is also nice. Okay, like, huh? Okay, so Krishna knows everything, and so but still, like I have got a desire, somehow or other I got a desire that at least somebody could have observed this and appreciated this. So like so that thing my heart is feeling now. So now what should I do at this point in time?
I question myself that did I do this for getting appreciation, or did I do this as a seva to please?
Yeah, this is a nice point. So like we can have a analysis or a questioning. So why did I do this particular activity in the first place? So did I do it for the pleasure of the Lord, pleasure of Guru and Krishna, or like with the desire that somebody may notice and appreciate and things like that? So that is one nice contemplation actually. So okay, so like we can contemplate on what is our actual position. So like our actual position is that we are insignificant living entity. We cannot like render any, we cannot do anything worthwhile. It is all done by the Supreme Lord. So but still like a sadhaka's mind, whose mind is still contaminated, may think, yeah, like, so see, definitely like Lord is the one who's doing everything. So but so many people wandering in the street, they are not cooperating with the Lord. So Lord is not doing through them. I am cooperating with the Lord. That is why Lord is doing through me. So like at least उसके लिए तो appreciation चाहिए. So huh? No, this is definitely definitely this is an instance of Maya only. But at that time, I am expected to practice the item of knowledge so that I can gradually go towards knowledge. So these contemplations are very good actually. So like who actually did that activity? Why did I do this activity? And if I exchange this activity for appreciation from somebody, so what is my ultimate benefit? That appreciation itself is my ultimate benefit. But if I don't seek appreciation and simply do it for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, so then knowledge will arise. So then I will be able to understand that I am spirit soul, and then gradually I'll be able to understand who is the Paramatma and who is Bhagavan and things like that. And that time what kind of happiness I will get. So now I am trading off this particular activity for a little bit of happiness. Appreciation definitely brings about happiness. But if I sacrifice that happiness, whether we like it or not, people keep appreciating. And then more you don't want, more people will throw it on you actually, more people will appreciate actually. So, and still if we don't attach ourselves to that and we expect only transcendental knowledge, transcendental realization, we will get Brahmananda and we will get like Paramatma Ananda, and we will get the ultimate bliss of being engaged in Krishna's service. So those happiness are way ahead of whatever happiness that we are trying to get through appreciation. So the contaminated mind will definitely think about this. So at that time, so we should think about that there is so many more transcendental realizations are waiting for for me to unlock. And so I should perform things for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. And then one more important thing that we can actually think about is that so I know all the philosophy, I know what I'm supposed to think, no, I know what is right, what is wrong, everything I know. Despite all these things, my mind is thinking in this way. So that means, no, it is affected by the material nature of the Lord. So praying to the Lord that, like ma meve prapadante maya metam tarantite, like, so you have the capacity to remove this material consciousness, and I am suffering from this disease of material consciousness. My Lord, please help me. Please help me to attain this knowledge, so that I will not hanker for these things. No, rather I will hanker for when will I attain your lotus feet? No, so rather than hankering for like when will somebody see what I am doing and appreciate me? So this is also a hankering. Till the time this hankering is there, the other hankering cannot come. So till the time, I am hankering that maybe somebody may see and appreciate. Till that time, this other hankering that when will I attain Krishna? So that hankering will not come. So like bhukti mukti spriha yavat pishachi hridi vartate. Tavat bhakti sukasyartam katam abhyudayo bhavet. So I know that I want to hanker for Radha and Krishna. So but at this point in time, I am hankering for something very cheap. So like we need to take shelter of Krishna. That please remove this. Like it is perfectly within your capacity to remove this. You are the ultimate doctor. You can cure all material diseases. So this is just, I am just an insignificant living entity. So if you can remove this disease from me, then I will render devotional service unto you. Like for eternity, I will render devotional service unto you. Right? So this is a nice kind of a meditation. And also like, definitely like we are trying to preach the message of Krishna consciousness. And if we become a little famous, so that will be beneficial in reaching the message to people. So that much it is Krishna consciousness. So but if we become dependent on being famous, so then also this thing becomes like our progress in Jnana Vairagya will become obstructed. So whatever is needed for Krishna's service and not for my pleasure. So everything can be utilized in Krishna's service. So but it should be used very carefully, because it is like a knife that we are using for cutting some fruits for Krishna. So fruits bhi hai, like hamara haath bhi hai, like kuch bhi cut sakte hai. So like we have to be very careful that what is like what we are using the tools for, right? So in that way, like we can actually contemplate about and come about like how to be away from honor and dishonor. So like not being affected by both honor and dishonor. So not that like, okay, it is appreciation. So Prabhupada is mentioning about dishonor also. So what will be our relation towards dishonor? If I do this activity, somebody may criticize. Like if I do the activities as mentioned by like Srila Prabhupada and as it is given in the parampara, like somebody may criticize me. So like it will not be appreciated by the people. So that also should not be there. So whether people will like it or not like it, whatever is mentioned by the Supreme Lord, which is passed down in the parampara, I must do it. So like whether somebody likes it or not, because I am doing it for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. So I should do it. So in one place, Srila Prabhupada actually mentions, I don't care if nobody comes to my program. So I just only care whether Krishna is pleased with this one. For that it doesn't mean ki like whoever comes like usko ulta सीधा कुछ बोल के like I don't care whoever comes to the program. ऐसा नहीं है. So like we should present Krishna consciousness as it is, properly as it is delivered in the Guru Parampara. So then it will be very nice. So not expecting honor or dishonor, from anybody. So like what is the honor that a devotee would like? So one thing we discussed like about when Prabhupada was given the comment that he like what did you write something new? Like even Ramanujacharya also has written the same thing. So like Prabhupada took it as an honor. So it is like so such honor, being recognized as a devotee of the Supreme Lord, being recognized as a servant of the Supreme Lord is the honor for a devotee. So such kind of a honor is not to be given up. Like not all sorts of ego is to be given up. There are certain things, certain identification are very good. No, so this is a person who is servant of the Supreme Lord. So that's a very nice this one. In fact, we ourselves advertise, like all of our names ends with Das. No, like हम लोग भी एक advertise करते हैं कि like हम लोग दास है. So if somebody tells Das, like no, it is fine. Yeah, like no, it is proper honor. No, like हमको सही honor दिए. So like no, sometimes like devotees, somebody calls us saying that so and so Das. अरे like ठीक है, like मैं बोलता हूँ like my name is so and so Das, but आप तो like etiquette होना चाहिए, प्रभु करके बुलाना चाहिए तुमको. So this means what, like his identification, this like I'm not identifying and cherishing my position as a Das. Somebody calls me as a Das, like it becomes an offense actually. So it is like we should see that so we should cherish our position as Das. So then somebody calls us as Das, like we will cherish that thing. Then second item is non-violence is generally taken to mean not killing or destroying the body, but actually non-violence means not to put others into distress. So people in general are trapped by ignorance in the material concept of life, and they perpetually suffer material pains. So unless one elevates people to spiritual knowledge, one is practicing violence. One should try his best to distribute real knowledge to people so that they may become enlightened to leave this material entanglement, that is non-violence. So now we see that like so non-violence means not creating any harm to another person or not putting another person in distress. So that is considered to be non-violence. So today morning, like I was hearing a Prabhupada class, so where Prabhupada was mentioning about truthfulness. So what is truthfulness? Like so truthfulness means like to speak what is truth. And like Prabhupada was mentioning one more point. Truthfulness means to speak about absolute truth, speak about Krishna, speak about subject matter which is related to Krishna. So that is considered to be truthfulness. So in the same way here also we see non-violence means not putting another living entity into distress. And so all living entities are going through so much of distress because of three modes of nature. And if I am not trying to do something like to relieve them from the three modes of nature, so then I am practicing violence. So like how can it be violence? So if somebody is like having a fever and then I have Dolo in my pocket and then I'm thinking that ki like अरे मेरा fever आएगा तो like मैं क्या करूँगा? तो like बचाना चाहिए ना, like मेरे लिए बचा के रखना चाहिए. So if somebody is having fever and I'm having a medicine with me, I'm thinking like whether should I give or not. So that is also violence actually. तुरंत लेके देना चाहिए कि like किसी को कुछ पीड़ा है and मेरा पास कुछ औषधि है like वो पीड़ा को दूर करने के लिए, immediately I have to give. So I have Bhagavad Gita and people have material problems. तो मैं Bhagavad Gita पहुंचा नहीं रहा हूँ like उनके पास, तो फिर it is violence actually. So this is mentioned here. So how in the practical ways, okay, this is in the way of like practicing non-violence in relation to people who are not practicing Krishna consciousness. So what is practicing non-violence amongst devotees? Devotees को तो उनके पास भगवत गीता है, भागवतम है, चैतन्य चरितमृत है, like सब कुछ है, वो डेली पढ़ते भी हैं. तो उनके साथ अगर non-violence practice करना है तो So not practicing austerity of speech, that is like so we are speaking something which is provocating or which is hurting other devotee and things like that. So like that is also something that we need to work upon. That so whenever such thing happen, so again we should pray to the Lord that my speech is violent in nature, my actions are violent in nature. So it is causing distress to other devotees. So like how will I please bless me so that I can become non-violent, I can become like a nice person to be with for other devotees, so that I can advance in Krishna consciousness, so that I can become like very absorbed in my chanting, very absorbed in my study of Bhagavatam, very absorbed in my devotional service. So if I can get all these qualities, so then I can be very nicely engaged in devotional service, right? So in this way, we can actually contemplate about these items, like how to practice these items. So then tolerance. So tolerance means that one should be practiced to bear insult and dishonor from others. If one is engaged in advancement of spiritual knowledge, there will be so many insults and much dishonor from others. So just like even in a material platform, this makes a lot of sense actually. So like I was just contemplating about this Indra's this one with Vishwarup. There is like how many of you don't know this past time, Indra and Vishwarup? This is post killing of Vrutrasur. So that after that. It's post killing or before killing? Before killing of Vrutrasur, like iska, I think the demons become powerful, and then like Brahaspati is also like angry with the this ones. Like I think Indra offends Brahaspati, and then he doesn't have a spiritual master at this point in time. And then the demons are becoming powerful because they are serving their spiritual master Sukracharya nicely, but the demigods have become weaker because they are not able to render service to their spiritual master. Because of that, their capacity is reduced. So at that time, Brahma actually tells that you go and approach another personality called Vishwarup, like who will perform yajna on behalf of the Devatas. But the Devatas should tolerate some aspect of Vishwarup. So Vishwarup also will do some good to the demons, but ultimately the Devatas will win. So like they will win and they will they will get the upper hand. So but Indra, like he knew this aspect. Brahmaji had previously warned also. So but when the yajna was happening, when Vishwarup was giving all the benefits to the Devatas, and he was giving some benefits to the demons also, the benefit of the yajna. So Indra became angry and he took a sword and he cut off the head of Vishwarup. So like this is, you see, like Brahmaji also gave this principle कि like इससे तुम मतलब अच्छे से जी सकते हैं, but थोड़ा सा tolerate करना पड़ेगा, थोड़ा सा कुछ चीज tolerate करना पड़ेगा. नहीं इसको tolerate नहीं कर सकते हम. Like it becomes, so then it becomes a problem. So in this world, like any person you take, any person, like he will have something good, he will have something bad. Until unless we learn to tolerate, it is not possible to work with anybody in the world. So like initially we will be attracted to the good qualities of the person. After we spend a little bit of time, तो उनका बुराई भी दिखने लगता है. तो उसके बाद like then the mind gets too much focused on the bad things, and then like ये डिवोटी तो अच्छा है बट थोड़ा सा बुरा भी है, एंड देन लाइक वो चीज बुरा चीजों को बारे में लाइक सोच के लाइक देन आफ्टर दैट सीम्स टू बी वेरी बिग. ये तो पूरा बुरा ही है, इसके पास कुछ अच्छा ही नहीं है. सो देन आफ्टर दैट लाइक वी लूज द एसोसिएशन ऑफ दैट पर्सन. So then, in the same way, like we go to another person. So everywhere something good, something bad is there. So like where we will, so only Krishna can, be a perfect person to associate with. So, but इतना बुरा देखेंगे तो like हम रामचंद्र कांत जैसा हो जाएंगे फिर, और रामचंद्र पुरी जैसा हो जाएंगे, like जो भगवान से भी गलती निकाल सकते हैं. So like it will become like that. So tolerance is a very, very important principle. So to bear insults and dishonor from others, like so Prabhupada is mentioning that like Krishna consciousness is all good, but then so when the propagation of Krishna consciousness is there, naturally people will become envious towards this. And what is our attitude towards them? So like our attitude towards them is tolerance. So we should tolerate the dishonor that somebody may give. So yesterday Prabhuji was mentioning about Jayananda Prabhu ka this one, like when he was insulted by the police and things like that. So he just simply showed his hands, like which was bleeding by playing mridanga. So we see that like these things, this tolerance and non-violence and humility. So these aspects actually attracts the living entities. So in fact it is very, very attractive. So like I was saying, like just before coming here, so we were going to Udupi. So when from Temple Land we were going to a metro, and from metro like went to the railway station. And in the metro, we made sure that we will go to like one station before, so that like the metro is empty, so we'll get place to sit. So then many other devotees, all congregation devotees from temple land were going. So many other devotees also had come. And so then after that we saw the train became very, like metro became very crowded. So then one of the congregation devotee, like he got up like from the seat just to give place for a old woman. So and then another devotee like got up like to give place for a woman with a baby. No, so then like me and Krishna Kandamati were looking at each other like ye log itna sacrifice kar rahe, like we are full time devotees and all, like no, so we should, our sacrifice should be more. So then we saw like so many other old people and all these people were standing, so like no, hum log bhi khada ho gaye. So and the natural reaction from the people where like ये लोग अच्छे हैं, like they were like कि आपका बैग दीजिए, like एटलीस्ट कम से कम आपका बैग पकड़ लेते हैं, तो आप हमारे लिए खड़ा हो गए, like हम आपका बैग पकड़ेंगे. So now you see that you sacrificed a little bit, and because of that, so they are voluntarily trying to carry your bag for some time. So like whether knowingly or unknowingly, like we are devotees, we are chanting some rounds. Like agar somebody, like if they help us in carrying our bag, so definitely he will get Sukriti. So but how did he get this kind of an attitude? Why did he get this attitude that I should serve a devotee? So like whether he knows that we are devotee or not, that's a different thing. Like how did he get this attitude that I should serve? Because we try to follow some principle. So like when we try to follow some principle, that gives so much of attractiveness. So now कल परसों like कोई भी like धोती कुर्ता पहन के उनका सामने जाएंगे, भगवद गीता लेके जरूर वो परचेस करेंगे. like ये लोग like अच्छे लोग हैं. Definitely like we should take some book from them, or like if they come for FOA registration, like हम लोग register करना चाहिए and things like that. So these things matters a lot. So when we practice all these things, humility, non-violence, tolerance, so these things are very very attractive. Like आप Bhagavad Gita लेने के लिए बोलो, like that's a higher principle. But then if they don't see the lower principles, these principles which they can relate with, so then they will not be able to connect with us. And it is also very beneficial for our chanting. This is very very beneficial for our chanting as well, right? आप कुछ तो बोलने वाले थे? So then even a boy like Prahlad, who was only 5 years old, was engaged in cultivation of spiritual knowledge, was endangered when his father became antagonistic to his devotion. The father tried to kill him in so many ways, but Prahlad tolerated him. So there may be like many impediments in making advancement in spiritual knowledge, but we should be tolerant and continue our progress with determination. Simplicity means that without diplomacy, one should be so straightforward that he can disclose the real truth even to an enemy. Like as for acceptance, okay, so this is like very nice point of simplicity. So like if we have something to achieve in this world, so definitely we need to have diplomacy. Because like if I'm there straightforward, then I will not be able to attain whatever I need to attain. So already I have a plan, I have to attain this. So but if I like be so सीधा साधा, like मुझे जो चाहिए वो नहीं मिलेगा, so then it will be a problem. So but if the devotee is thinking, I want only transcendental realization, I want to attain only Radha and Krishna, so then I don't want to attain anything in this material world, so then this is possible, right? So like so as much as possible, like we should become simple in our dealings, so that helps us to go towards Krishna consciousness. And then as for acceptance of spiritual master, that is essential, because without instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, one cannot progress in the spiritual science. So even though like one may have all the process, one may know all the process, so without being instructed, like when spiritual master says you do this activity, then it becomes a bona fide service. So otherwise, like it is not a bona fide service yet. Like Krishna may not deliver his mercy. So one should approach the spiritual master with all humility and offer him all services, so that he will be pleased to bestow his blessings upon the disciple. Because a bona fide spiritual master is a representative of Krishna, if he bestows any blessings upon his disciple, that will make the disciple immediately advanced without the disciples following the regulative principles. Or the regulative principles will be easier for one who has served the spiritual master without reservation. So now we see that regulative principles means like all these things, whatever is mentioned here, amanitvam, adambitvam, and things like that. So now, like one need to practice all these things. For us, we need to practice humility. We need to practice tolerance. We need to practice like non-violence and things like that. But if somebody is blessed by a very advanced soul, that may you be Krishna conscious, all these divine qualities will automatically get decorated. So like, did that prostitute, who came in association of Haridas Thakur, practiced all these regulative principles? No, she did not practice all the regulative principles. But did she become tolerant, humble, and things like that? So yes, she became tolerant, humble, and things like that. So she did not have to practice these things. So like she was blessed, by the spiritual master, in this way. So in the same way, like if the blessings may come in the way that it may become like, I don't need to practice, all these things are directly bestowed upon, or the blessings may come in the form that this practice becomes easier. So this practice becomes very easier to do. So that is also a nice blessings of the spiritual master. And then cleanliness is essential for making advancement in spiritual life. There are two kinds of cleanliness, external and internal. External cleanliness means taking a bath, but for internal cleanliness, one has to think of Krishna always and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This process cleans the accumulated dust of past karma from the mind. So now definitely like we are speaking a lot about Hare Krishna mantra, and every day we are chanting as well, and we have given a specific time for this as well. So but most often like external cleanliness is taken in a lighter way. So like whenever we keep some clothes, we should fold and keep it, and we should regularly cleanse the place that we live in, and cleanse all the racks and things like that, what we have, and keeping things clean, so if we get up from the bed, folding the beddings and things like that, and properly keeping it. So like this, the many things that are there, we can actually do it. So one may ask that how is it going to make any difference? So like I am going to chant 16 rounds, I am going to attend Arati and things like that. So मैं bed कैसा रखा हूँ, room कैसा रखा हूँ, मेरा कपड़ा कैसा रखा हूँ, how is it going to matter? How is it going to matter? Chanting is going to produce result, no? Yes? Huh? It will affect our consciousness. Yes. Yes. Yes, all these activities will bring us to the mode of goodness. So just like yesterday we had a practical example. In the hall there was so much of fan noise was there. And then that time also we could do Shravanam Kirtanam. And once the fan were switched off, that time also we could do Shravanam and Kirtanam. So we could see a very clear difference between both these Shravanam and Kirtanam. Right? So it is always good to have less noise and then have the Shravanam and Kirtanam. So this will produce noise in the terms of if mode of goodness is not there, if mode of ignorance and passion is there. So the mind is thinking about, so why should I sit only and chant? Why should I chant only in this time? Why should I chant at all? All this kind of arguments will come. And passion will think about ऐसा करना है, वैसा करना है, इसमें मुझे ज़्यादा profit मिलेगा, उसमें ये होगा, वो होगा, and things like that. So still I am trying to chant and I am trying to hear the names of the Lord, but the mind is giving so much of noise in between, the noise of passion and noise of ignorance. And will I be able to absorb myself in the Shravanam and Kirtanam? It's not possible. So that is why, even though it may take some time, we should carefully keep everything, our belongings very nicely. We should wash our clothes very nicely. We should take bath very nicely. And especially if we are living in, generally the renunciants or a brahmana should take bath 3 times a day. And especially if we are living in such a humid and hot climate, definitely we should take bath 3 times a day. Otherwise mode of ignorance will prevail. And we will not be able to focus on Krishna consciousness properly. Right? So whenever we are giving break, तो इसी के लिए break दे रहे हैं कि ताकि जाके स्नान वान करके आ जाए, like, So it is very important that this cleanliness is very, very important. And so if people see, if people see that this devotees are nicely, they are clean, and they are wearing nice clean clothes, and they are appearing very clean and things like that, उसी में आपको 20-30% preaching हो गया, and then if you are very concerned about other people around, and then this train wala example that I mentioned and things like that. So if you are concerned about other people around and things like that, or 20-30% preaching udhar hi ho gaya. So then ऐसा ये सब चीज whatever is mentioned, the items of knowledge, if you are able to practice all these things, so then automatically preaching 90% preaching उसी में हो गया. Then simply you have to just go and tell कि आप just ये book ले लीजिए, मंदिर आ जाइए. So then people will just simply fall at your feet and follow. So it is so nice actually, the items of knowledge. So we should thoroughly study them and follow them. And we see that steadiness. Now steadiness means that one should be very determined to make progress in spiritual life. Without such determination, one cannot make tangible progress. Self-control means that one should not accept anything which is detrimental to the path of spiritual progress. So, so this is called self-control. So, in fact, we see that now all of us are given, nice rooms with AC and things like that. Yesterday also we discussed. So, this point that self-control means when the body is tired, I should utilize this nice facility to take rest, to rejuvenate the body. When the body is not tired, or just the body is appearing to be tired, so then what I'm supposed to do, even though the facility is there, so room mein 90% is bed only, so even though the facility is, and every material element has its way to attract the the senses will get attracted when the sense object is there in the proximity. So if there is nice gulab jamun in front of me, so definitely a thought comes ki मैं खाऊं या नहीं खाऊं, वो thought तो आएगा. So if bed is there, naturally the thought comes ki मैं सोऊं या नहीं सोऊं, तो thought तो आता है. So but then self control means, is it necessary for me? Without this, has my body been sufficiently rested or not? So if it is not rested sufficiently for Krishna's service, then I should take rest. So that is self-control. And if it is rested sufficiently, then I should not take rest. That is also self-control, right? So it is not that artificially ki मैं तो वैरागी हूँ, body is too much tired, तो अभी मैं नहीं सोऊंगा, हालांकि माला पकड़ के मैं सोते रहूंगा, बेड में बैठ के लेट के नहीं सोऊंगा मैं, तो that is also not self-control. So that is not too much of opposite side, so that is atyachar towards the body. So that also should not be done. So we should give proper rest. And then we are not giving proper rest in the night, and then we are taking rest in the daytime. So that is also not necessary. We are winding up our program at what time, 7:30, 8 o'clock maximum we are winding up our program. So we can very well sleep by 8:39. It is very much possible. 8:30 to definitely possible. So we should try to see that we should go to bed early and we should rise up early. So these are all nice practices of mode of goodness. Night time, suddenly some inspiration comes to the mind. Abhi thoda pad lenge, abhi thoda ye karenge, wo karenge, and things like that and all. So but we should tell ki basic sadhana to ho gaya. Abhi night ho gaya, to is time pe hum so jana chahiye. So then next day morning we get up early in the morning. So it becomes easier for us to practice Krishna consciousness, right? So self-control means that one should accept anything, one should not accept anything that which is detrimental to the path of spiritual progress. One should be accustomed to this and reject anything which is against the path of spiritual progress. This is real renunciation. The senses are so strong that they are always anxious to have sense gratification. One should not cater to these demands which are not necessary. The senses should only be gratified to keep the body fit, so that one can discharge his duty in advancing in spiritual life. The most important and uncontrollable sense is the tongue. If one can control the tongue, then there is every possibility of controlling the other senses. The function of the tongue is to taste and to vibrate. Therefore, by systematic regulation, the tongue should always be engaged in tasting the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna and chanting Hare Krishna. So, like this is, you see, when sense control comes, immediately Srila Prabhupada comes to the point of controlling the tongue. And controlling the tongue means not only controlling the eating. What else is there? Speaking as well, speaking, chanting Hare Krishna mantra or speaking pure Krishna Katha. So these two things is very essential. So if I speak Krishna Katha and if I don't control my eating, again we are in problem. If I control my eating but I don't speak Krishna Katha, then also we are in problem. So both these things must be done because both functions, so the lust actually sits strategically in all the different senses, mind and intelligence. And so the fourth of all this, or the key position of all these senses is the mind, and especially the senses is the tongue. And tongue needs to be controlled, means we should be strict in following only Krishna Prasadam and only speaking about Krishna. So these two things must be there. So if we nicely follow these two principles, so then automatically all other senses will also get controlled. And as far as the eyes are concerned, so therefore systematic regulation, by systematic regulation, the tongue should always be engaged in tasting the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna and chanting Hare Krishna. As far as the eyes are concerned, they should not be allowed to see anything but the beautiful form of Krishna. That will control the eyes. Similarly, the ears should be engaged in hearing about Krishna and nose in smelling the flowers offered to Krishna. This is the process of devotional service. And it is understood here that Bhagavad Gita is simply expounding the science of devotional service. Devotional service is the main and sole objective. Unintelligent commentators on the Bhagavad Gita try to divert the mind of the readers to other subjects, but there is no other subject in Bhagavad Gita than devotional service. So this is very nice point. So Krishna is Bhakta Vatsala and Arjuna is Bhakta. And what can be the discussion between the Bhakta Vatsala and Bhakta? So the only discussion is Bhakti only. So everything that is spoken about is only about Bhakti. And many unauthorized commentators, they say that Karma Yoga chapter mein Krishna is talking about pure karma, and Jnana mein Krishna is talking about pure Jnana. Isme to kuch bhakti nahi hai. So why is Prabhupada writing about bhakti in Karma Yoga? Why is Prabhupada writing about bhakti in Jnana Yoga? So why he is doing all these things? So but Krishna himself is telling Mai chayananya yogena bhakti rabhya bicharini. So so Krishna himself puts this thing that bhakti is the foremost and important thing. Many places he has clarified, and the Acharya is also very chaste to this subject matter. He is also explaining about bhakti in every place. This is not the Acharya is not giving something which is not there. He is just giving whatever is there. Legitimately he is giving it. So it's very important to understand. And false ego means accepting this body as oneself. When one understands that he is not this body but his spirit soul, he comes to real ego. Ego is there. False ego is condemned, but the real ego, in the Vedic literature, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is said, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am spirit. So this I am, the sense of self, also exists in the liberated stage of self-realization. This sense of I am is ego, but when the sense of I am is applied to this false body, it is false ego. When the sense of self is applied to reality, that is real ego. There are some philosophers who say we should give up our ego, but we should give up our, but we cannot give up our ego, because ego means identity, and we ought, of course, to give up the false identification with the body. So the Buddhist philosophers, the Mayavadi philosophers, all of them, they tell that we have to give up the I am. This problem is that I am. So that is the problem. So what we say, the problem is I am the body, that is problem. I am spirit soul is not a problem. So this is the point, that I am spirit soul. So that is the real identification. And one should try to understand the distress of accepting birth, death, old age and disease. So here it is mentioned, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. So like, no, this is like, this is the source of all the miseries. No, this is the source of all the miseries that needs to be seen. So like, no, when, what is it? When I'm supposed to get something, like I'm supposed to get something, like maybe some appreciation or something like that, and that has not been given to me. So that causes distress. And then like, so but here it is mentioned that real causes of distress is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. No, this is the cause of distress. So like, no, the other thing that honor and dishonor, so one can tolerate it and still advance in spiritual knowledge and things like that. So like here we see the real cause of distress is these 4 items. So birth, death, old age and disease. So there are descriptions in various Vedic literatures of birth, and in Srimad Bhagavatam, the world of unborn, the child's stay in the womb of mother, its suffering, etc., are all very graphically described. It should be thoroughly understood that birth is distressful, because we forget how much distress we have suffered within the womb of the mother. We do not make any solution to repetition of birth and death. Similarly, at the time of death, there are all kinds of suffering, and they are also mentioned in the authoritative scriptures. These should be discussed. As far as disease and old age are concerned, everyone gets practical experience. No one wants to be deceased, and no one wants to become old. But there is no avoiding these. Unless we have a pessimistic view of this material life, considering the distresses of birth, death, old age and disease, there is no impetus for our making advancement in spiritual life. So what is our view towards birth, death, old age and disease? Our own birth, death, old age and disease. What is our view towards that? No, we should be pessimistic. So what is our view towards others' birth, death, old age and disease? No, it's an opportunity to serve. No, like somebody is old, like no, so we should serve them. And no, somebody is deceased, like no, what we should not tell that like this is all. No, we should be pessimistic to taking care of devotees who are sick. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि so like no, we should take care of the devotees who are sick. No, so that is a different this one. No, like so, but no, we see that we should become pessimistic towards this material life. No, so that is very, very important. So if we think that कि like material life is nice, कभी कभी कुछ problem होता है, उसको solve कर दिया तो like बाकी सब अच्छा ही है. So like then it is very dangerous, for us to make advancement. So as for detachment from children, wife and home, it is not meant that one should have no feeling for these. So this means what? This jnana dharma is supposed to be followed by whom? Renunciance is supposed to follow. So renunciance के पास like children, wife, home है ही नहीं है. So like why it is mentioned like being detached from these things? उनके पास तो है ही नहीं. So this jnana dharma also has to be followed by grahasthas or like the followers of karma dharma. So followers of karma dharma, they follow karma and jnana and bhakti. No, so like an ideal grahastha, an ideal like householder, he should also have like a householder who is desiring to make spiritual advancement. So he should also be detached from wife, children, home, and etc. So that is necessary. So that one should have. It is not that one should not have any feeling towards them. They are natural objects of affection. But when they are not favorable for spiritual progress, then one should not be attached to them. The best process for making the home pleasant is Krishna consciousness. If one is in full Krishna consciousness, he can make his home very happy. Because this process of Krishna consciousness is very easy. One can only chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Accept the remnants of footsteps offered to Krishna. Have some discussions on books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and engage oneself in deity worship. These 4 things will make one happy. One should train the members of family in this way. The family members can sit down morning and evening and chant together Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If one can mold his family life in this way to develop Krishna consciousness, following these 4 principles, then there is no need to change from family life to renounced life. In the same way, like if somebody has not entered into family life, no need to change from brahmachari life to no family life also. So like, so this is like, many times, devotees quote this thing, ki like, Mahaprabhu has told, like, he has emphasized this aspect, sthane sthita, srutigatam tanuvan manubhis. So many times, like in the Narsimha Giridhari Mandir, like when we were very new, so like so that time there was a competition or there was some kind of a fight between congregation and brahmacharis. So like they used to preach to the boys saying that, see, Mahaprabhu was told sthane sthita, like you don't need to become brahmachari and things like that. And we also used to quote the same thing, sthane sthita, like already you are not married, aisa hi raho, like so स्थान बदल मत बदलो. तो हम दोनों एक ही श्लोक के ऊपर 2 अलग टीका देते थे. And then boys used to get confused कि स्थानीय स्थिति को कैसे फॉलो करना चाहिए हम. So वो लोग बोलते थे स्थानीय स्थिति ऑलरेडी तुम घर में है, घर पे रहो. हम लोग बोलते थे ऑलरेडी तुम मैरिज नहीं है, लाइक ऐसे रहो. So it has to be like a very nice joke actually. So anyways, ठीक है. So one doesn't need to change, if he is following all these things. One must sacrifice everything to realize or serve Krishna, just as Arjuna did. Arjuna did not want to kill his family members, but when he understood that these family members were impediments in his Krishna realization, he accepted the instructions of Krishna and fought and killed them. In all cases, one should be detached from the happiness and distress of family life, because in this world, one can never be fully happy or fully miserable. So like we see that, it is not that if our family members are not favorable to Krishna consciousness, उनसे लड़ना चाहिए और ये सब चीज़ करना चाहिए. So here, in the case of Arjuna, his dharmic duty, was to fight a dharma yuddha. So then he did that. So in our case, it will not be applicable. So one should not go to the extreme aspects of killing and stuffs like that and all. So they are not accepting Krishna consciousness, Bhagavad Gita mein Prabhupada likha hai, usko finish kar do. So that is not the thing, that is not the prescribed duty for us. Like for Arjuna, so that was a prescribed duty, he executed it. So Prabhupada is just telling that, even to that extent, if you have to follow your duty properly, even to this extent, we may have to follow. So, but then our duty may not demand so much, so how much ever our duty demands, we should actually perform. So in fact, there are many other examples are there where, so in fact, Mother Sita mentions, when she is talking with Anusuya, she actually mentions that even if the husband is third class, still the wife should discharge her Sri Dharma in following and serving the husband very nicely. So it is not that, it doesn't mean that if the husband is giving an adharmic instruction, she has to follow. It is not like that. But she has to serve the husband. That is very important. So in this way, the scriptures give very clear idea of how to deal with the relatives, relatives and parents and things like that. Then happiness and distress are concomitant factors of material life. One should learn to tolerate as advised in Bhagavad Gita. One should never restrict and the coming and going of happiness and distress. One should, so still we have a little bit of this one. So we will take it up this in the next session. So we will have quickly for 5 minutes, any quick questions, we will take, and then we can move for prasadam. So then we can meet for the next session. Any quick questions or comments? Yes, Paul. No. That is another point. No, simplicity go one line only. After that, as for acceptance of spiritual master, that's another item. So if you see simplicity, Yeah. So Arjavam is simplicity and Acharya Pasanam is accepting a spiritual master. So it's two different principles. Yes.
So in the humility section also, honor and dishonor is mentioned. Both to both. And in tolerance section also, honor and dishonor is mentioned. What is the difference?
Okay, so like here in humility section also honor and dishonor is mentioned, and tolerance section also honor and dishonor is mentioned. So like not expecting honor and dishonor, like so that thing is practice of humility, and if it comes, tolerating them is like another item. Like once it comes, कि अभी आ गया, like no, what am I supposed to do? Like I'm not, like the mind is telling that कि, like I should react to this thing. So but then I'm contemplating, no, like the path of knowledge prescribes that I should not tolerate this thing. So I may exercise the tolerance towards that. So that is another item of
It appears that until we tolerate, we cannot be.
so these items, most of these items, if we see, like any one of them is not there also, the package fails actually. So like no, all these things is simultaneously need to be practiced. Like that is how these items are. And once the knowledge arises, all these items simultaneously like becomes naturally be bestowed also upon the person. So when, like how do we test, like Prabhupada also gives this point here, as for actual advancement in spiritual life, one should have a test to see how far he is progressing. He can judge by these items. So now, like whether a person has come to Brahman realization or not, or Paramatma realization or not. So even Brahman realization, one will see all this, this one, like that is a basic item of knowledge or basic stage of knowledge, like first milestone of knowledge. So if somebody has come to the stage of Brahman realization, all these items which are mentioned here will be very nicely displayed in his personality. So now, like sometimes I feel that I am able to hear the names of the Lord nicely. So like, I am able to absorb myself nicely in devotional service. So now, like I am advanced. So then the next moment somebody criticizes me, I am not able to tolerate. So then immediately, okay, like it is an like one of spike of realization. Definitely that realization is also, it matters a lot. But then my internal purification is still not there. So I am like not being able to tolerate or like things like that or not. So one more section of Bhagavad Gita we will study in this period. Maybe like if you are taking Bhagavad Gita like in the next session, so we will take this section also. So this is that Sthita Prajna section. There Ramanuja's analysis of Sthita Prajna section, which Vidwan Prabhu mentions in that Bhakti Shastri session. So like being able to identify the sense objects and being able to control at the level of mind, being able to control at the level of action. So many different levels are there. So like, from there also we can understand how much we are actually making advancement in Krishna consciousness. So all of these items simultaneously and progressively must be practiced. And then when knowledge arises, we will see effect in all of these items simultaneously and progressively also. So like that, it goes. Yes, ma'am. I think for 5 minutes we can switch off the fans quickly. Because I have the facility of mic, I can shout it out. So, but when voice comes from there, I'm not able to hear. Yes, ma'am.
So there also this qualification of tolerance.
That is a bhakti anga. That's a bhakti anga. See, you find that cleanliness is part of karma also, the part of jnana also, the part of bhakti also. So some items are like, there's like spiritual master, accepting spiritual master. It is like, it's part of every this one. Like, so how is tolerance like, Trinadati Sunichena, how it is part of bhakti anga? It is a way in which the chanting has to be performed. Shravanam Kirtanam is there. How the Shravanam Kirtanam has to be performed? So one should be tolerant than a tree, and one should humble than a blade of grass. So that this one is there. So like humility may not be a separate item of bhakti, but humility comes as one of the ways in which, or not one of the ways, one of the the practical steps involved in performing Shravanam and Kirtanam. So it is the science of Shravanam and Kirtanam. If we study the science of Shravanam and Kirtanam, so there the humility, tolerance and all these things are again there. So over there. So you may find a lot of overlap of these things. So that is there across the different yoga systems. Okay. ठीक है. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Hare Krishna.